Okay, so here's me and Sal heading on our first walk of the day.
Thank
Um,
you.
he's really jazzed up. Before we left, I had to cut treats and put a couple of like dogs away and cats set up. So he spent a lot of the time preparing for this walk with like excitement. So I knew that
Thank you.
going into it, and I was prepared to kind of start off with a lot of pulling. So I'm just using kind of the stop freeze technique, and I'm rewarding him coming back into me and that slack on the leash with forward
Good
motion.
job. Let's go.
Here I use a little bit of a let's go, kind of had to pull him out of it. So even when he's really excited and jazzed, like that's one of the reasons I took this video, is because within 2-3 minutes of our walk, a switch flips, and he is way better with the pulling on the walk. And all of this being said is, of course, with no triggers, right? We're not seeing people
Let's
and
go.
dogs and things barking and all that nonsense. It's just us on a walk. So this is just basic skills that he already knows, that he just has to kind of be reminded of. You can even see right here, it's already starting to fizzle out. So I don't even think we were out for a full 2 minutes before he kind of remembered, oh yeah, I'm on a leash, can't drag Amanda into the ground. So that was just a good beginning of our walk.
Thank you. Good job.
Okay, so here we are at the lake. This is probably about 10 minutes into the walk, and he does amazing. So this is just a video I threw in here for some comparison of how great he's doing. Again, so far we haven't seen any triggers, and we do understand that like after that he's going to kind of relapse into that pulling and excitement, and we just have to stay consistent. But we don't actually see any dogs on a walk on the lake, but we do see some in the backyard in a few minutes here. But here he is. I don't think I had to stop and pause and wait for slack in the leash at all the entire time we were on the lake trail. And he did amazing. And you can see he does a lot of check-ins with me. I still like to reward those sparingly, but I don't do them every time like we did in the beginning. It's good to always kind of have like a reward thrown in there, just to keep him, interested in what we have taught him in the past. But I don't have to do it every time because he kind of just knows what's up now. And he's smiling. He's so cute. Oh, I can't handle it. Okay, so I'm about to pull off to the side, and we're gonna go through the neighborhood where I'm thinking might see a couple more dogs. So as I walk off to the side, I kind of switch things up, and I put him on my waist harness. And as I'm switching that, a man walks by, and he doesn't really react. He gets excited to see him, but it's not kind of that alert, overstimulated kind of reaction. But we did pull off to the side. And I do know he is more jazzed and excited now that he saw that person. Not the same as when we see dogs or other triggers, but he is more jazzed. And so I keep that in mind, which is good because after the man passed, I was like, okay, we're going to head back over and try to go on the trail in between these houses. And as I walk that direction, I actually see some dogs in the backyard. And Sal sees them as well. I think he sees them right about there. That's when he sees them. And I marked and treat because he didn't really kind of reaction, and I didn't really give him a chance to like disengage on his own because it also took me out of like off guard. So I decided that we're first of all not going to go on that path because it passes right by that yard, and the yard does not have a privacy fence, so it's even worse. But we are going to kind of stand here and work with it for a little while. He did get a little more excitable, and some other person walked by, and I ended up dropping the phone, and it was kind of chaotic. So he didn't bark, but he had lots of whining and lots of kind of like bouncing around, especially when that person walked by. So all I did was I walked about 12 feet the opposite direction, and we kind of plopped here in the grass. it was just a lot for all of us. And obviously, when there's a lot of stimulus going on, there's no shame in just kind of pulling off to the side and chunking some treats at him. He also offered this down on his own, which I wish I got on film because I'm so proud of him. I don't know if I've ever really had him in a high state of arousal offer me a down. Obviously, he's still pretty perky, but he's a lot more relaxed than he has been in the past. And to get into that down was a lot. So I'm just going to chunk him some treats. And we're kind of going to get a new game plan. I have him clipped on the back now. Sometimes when I have it on the waist belt, having him clipped in the front causes a little more chaos for us because he kind of gets tangled. So we pulled aside, regrouped, he's resting, and then we're going to keep going on our walk. And he does really well on the rest of our walk, which I'm really, really surprised and pleased with. He kind of comes back down. He's a little more alert than he was initially, but he does settle quite a bit. So I think I have a video of that too in a second.
Well then, let's go.
All right, so here we go. Yes, let's go, and we're gonna keep on walking. He's looking behind him at those two dogs. He gets a yes treat, and then we keep on going. So right off the bat, I expect there to be a lot more pulling than there is, and he's doing a really good job. Of course, there is a little bit more tension on the leash than there was previously, but it's really, I mean, this is beautiful. It's really not that bad. And his nose is to the ground, and he's kind of doing a little bit of sniffing, and he's not kind of whipping his head back and forth with his ears propped up like he usually does when he's like overstimulated. So I kind of love seeing kind of the way he's working through it with sniffing. He's still looking back at me. And like I was talking about before, not marking all of those check-ins right after kind of a stressful situation, I will mark for a lot more things. So I will mark for some check-ins and a few other things that I see here and there, just kind of good behaviors. Anything that I like, basically, I'll kind of ramp up some of those treats. And then I'll fade them back out. I won't continue the whole walk, especially if he's showing me that he is kind of settled down. But he did really good.